Hey, what's up you guys? So today's video is going to be part of the Pets Ed Life video campaign. If you guys don't know what Pets Ed Life is, you can click over here and check out their channel. They're a nonprofit dedicated to encouraging people to go out and adopt pets and promoting responsible pet ownership. And I encourage you guys to go out and adopt a pet as well. And today's video is going to be all a part of responsible pet ownership. And I've made videos similar to this where I talk about things you should know before owning certain pets. And today I wanted to make a video talking about things you should know before owning any pet in general. These are some things some of you guys might find to be very obvious, but I feel like a lot of people don't actually take these things into consideration before getting a pet, and that's where things tend to go wrong. And before we get started with this, I'm not discouraging anyone from owning any pet. You guys can go out and get any pet you want, but these are just things you should know beforehand. And I actually highly encourage you guys to go out and get a pet because they're amazing. As you know, I love animals. And if there's any pet you want to get, I do highly encourage you guys to go out and adopt, whatever that may be. But these are things you should just know beforehand because as awesome as it is to have a pet, you do want to make sure you're being responsible and you're doing everything you should be doing so that you're being fair to that animal, because animals are so fun to have, but you still need to be a responsible pet owner. And the very first thing I want to start off with is before owning any pet, you should definitely do your research about whatever that pet is. You should never purchase or adopt a pet on a whim because you think it's cute or you think it'll be a good idea, and you go to the pet store, you go to a shelter or whatever, and you just see a random animal and you're like, wow, that's really cute, I'm gonna go adopt it. You should definitely make sure you do your research. If you're not familiar with that type of pet, you want to know, its health conditions, different things about the pet's personality, and does it make a good pet? Is it right for you? You want to make sure that it's the right pet for you. You want to know how long it lives, how much attention it needs, and different requirements. And another reason is because you need to know how to properly take care of that pet. And I've talked about this before, but you can't really go to a pet store and expect the people who work there to know everything about every animal and tell you every little thing you need to know, because they aren't going to know everything. And even if they do know everything, you can't expect them to remember to tell you every little detail. You should definitely make sure you do your research before getting a pet, and just make sure you're like a specialist and you're an expert on that pet before you even get it. You shouldn't get a pet and then start looking up like, how do I do this? That's a bad idea. You don't want to do that. You want to know what you're getting yourself into before you get yourself into it. And I would also highly recommend getting all the stuff you need for an animal before actually getting an animal. If you're gonna get a fish, you wanna set up the fish tank and put the water in there, put in all the decorations, make sure it's the right temperature, and just get everything going before you actually get the fish. If you're gonna get a lizard, you wanna set up the tank, put the substrate in there, put in all the decorations, set up the lights or whatever it is that you're putting in there. Make sure the temperature and everything is right. You want to make sure you get all that stuff taken care of before you get a pet, because you don't want to bring something home and then have to worry about making sure you have everything. And giving your pet the best life it can possibly have is the next thing that I want to talk about. Something that people don't tend to always realize is when you get a pet, that is another living creature. It's a living thing that has feelings and it's alive and conscious. And that might sound like stupid, like, Tyler, you're stupid. What are you even talking about? What are you saying right now? Obviously, pets are living things. But what you don't realize is its life is literally in your hands, and everything it knows, its entire reality, is totally up to you. You could give a pet the shittiest life ever and not even pay attention to it, and it's not going to make a difference to you because that pet that you have is only a small portion of your life. For example, you might get a rabbit and put it in a small cage and look at it every once in a while and be like, oh, look, I have a cute rabbit. Hold it for 5 minutes, put it away, and then fantastic. You have a rabbit and it's cute to look at once in a while. But you are everything that rabbit or whatever pet you have, you're everything to it. So while you're, out with your friends, the rabbit's in its cage, and it's just in its cage its entire life, except for the 5 minutes you choose to take it out. What you need to realize is the pet is a small part of your life, but you are everything that pet has, and you control its reality. So you want to make sure you're giving your pet the best care it can possibly have, giving it as much attention as it requires, or even more. I'm using rabbits as an example, but this qualifies for any pet. People don't tell you that, like, rabbits don't want to be in the cage all the time. When you go to the pet store and buy a rabbit, they don't say, hey, like, you should probably take your rabbit out every day and make sure it's not in its cage all the time. People don't tell you that. That's why you want to go and do your research first and look that stuff up. Rabbits actually need, like, pretty big cages, so those tiny cages at the pet store that they say are for rabbits usually aren't very good. People also get, like, pet birds without realizing birds really bond with you and they need quality time. So people get birds and then shove them in a cage and don't look at them. And they don't realize that that bird's suffering because you're not paying any attention to it, but you don't really realize it or care because you only see the bird whenever you walk by its cage, That's the only time you might see it. But the bird is just in its cage all the time, and that's its life. And you want to make sure, whatever pet you have, you're just giving it a lot of attention and you're giving it a lot of human interaction if that's what the pet wants. Obviously, like, I have a snake, and my snake doesn't want me to hold it all the time. And also something I wanted to mention that's a little bit back towards, like, doing your research is you don't want to give your pets the bare minimum it needs as far as attention goes. If it says, oh, you should play with your bird an hour a day, that doesn't mean take your bird out of the cage and set a timer for an hour, and when it's up, it can go back in its cage. Spend as much time as you possibly can with whatever bird or rabbit, whatever you have. Also, if you're getting a bird or a snake or whatever pet and it says, oh, the minimum cage requirement is this, that doesn't mean to go out and buy the minimum cage required for whatever pet it is. You want to give your pet as much space as it can possibly have. However much you can afford to give it is how much you want to give it. Just small stuff like that really does make a big difference. So yeah, I think that's basically all I wanted to say in this video. If you liked it, please make sure to give it a big thumbs up. And also don't forget to check out Pets Add Life. The link to their channel will be in the description below. And also the links to all my social medias will be in the description below, so make sure to go check those out as well. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel. I post videos every week. And I'll see you guys in my next video.